And Rick Warren was very transparent about how they tried everything to help their son. He wrote this weekend that in spite of America's best doctors, meds, counselors, and prayers, Matthew's mental illness never went away. Psychiatrist John Sharp from Harvard Medical School joining the conversation now. You know, Dr. Sharp, even a world-renowned spiritual leader could not help his son. What do you say to parents out there that are dealing with a child that has mental illness, seeing this, thinking, God help me?
Well, despite the loss of Matthew, I think what we all have to recognize is that depression is almost always treatable. So if your child isn't feeling like his or herself, if they're down, if they feel hopeless, if they say that they want to die, that they'd rather die than live, you definitely should educate your child, get him or her right away to a pediatrician or adolescent medicine specialist or to your family doctor and put in place a treatment plan where everybody's clear what the patient needs to do, what the doctor or counselor needs to do, and what you need to do as parents.
Dr. Shaw, reality check, though, and I have friends of mine dealing with this right now, and they are embarrassed, they're ashamed, they're scared to tell their son or daughter what to do because they're afraid they might get hurt, that their child might hurt themselves. So, I mean, yeah, you can get them to a specialist, lay out this plan, but the reality is, it is really hard for a parent to do that when the child doesn't want to seek help or doesn't think they need help.
Right, and so you have to ask yourself, what's really making it so hard? You know, it's not so easy. So what's making it so hard is the question. Are you afraid that by trying you're going to precipitate some crisis where your child all of a sudden, you know, is more difficult to reach? Are you afraid that somehow there's so much shame that you can't even speak to it yourself? You can go to your doctor or counselor or talk to someone in a crisis center or suicide prevention hotline and address those issues and find strategies that are going to be effective, because it's all about communication and love and getting someone the care they need.
And the numbers are
oh my gosh! I mean, this is
outstanding.
Yeah, this is information that parents need to know and probably don't even realize how much they need to know it. As many as a quarter of adolescents, say that they've had suicidal thoughts. Suicide is the third leading cause of death, people, for kids ages 15 to 24, and for every completed youth suicide attempt, there are up to 100 failed attempts. And I'm wondering, I mean, doctor, why it seems like an epidemic when you look at those numbers? Why do so many people go to that?
It's not increasing, it's just that we're really aware. Well, you know, to some extent, thoughts of life and death, existential thoughts about do I have the right to end my life in this life, are normal in adolescence. But when they become linked to hopelessness, to anxiety, to isolation, to despair, when they get linked to true intent, when someone has actually a plan, when someone writes it down and starts to give away their loved one's items, then it becomes much more serious. So I don't think we can guess what's going on in the minds of our children. I think we have to ask, we have to educate them, and we have to get counselors and therapists involved in order to make that determination, because depression is a treatable illness, and I wish Matthew was still alive. It seemed like he reached a moment of despair despite all that treatment. And it's really the patient's responsibility to keep themselves alive throughout treatment. And if someone can't do that, they need to be in a hospital.
Yeah, and then you hit it right there, and I know you try to strike, you tell your patients right away that they've got to promise you that they're going to keep themselves alive if you're going to spend time with them.
Can I tell you a quick story? Just 5 minutes ago, I had a phone call. I thought it might have been your show. And it was a patient who said that she needs to see me sooner because she's feeling down and suicidal. She called from her therapist's office. And I had to ask her, you know, will you be okay until, I looked at my schedule, Thursday? Do you need to come in sooner? Can you not even guarantee that you're going to be that okay? Maybe you need to get to a hospital. I can send an ambulance to you right now. You have to have that kind of frank discussion so that the patient knows how much you care and what they need to do to make this work.
Wow.
Doctor, thanks. Well, the Warren family hasn't appeared in public yet. Rick Warren's brother-in-law